you've been working all week long for. The time we officially... Let's hear some car horns out there going with the whistle. Everybody ready? All right. Here it's Friday, 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 Friday. I might be mad. Tomorrow I'll be glad. 'Cause I'm a Friday on my mind. I'm buck naked. I know.
Quitting time. I said it's quitting time. I was the foreman. I was the one says when it's quitting time at terror. Quitting time!
You are a wonderful person.
Friday evening, what a feeling. Feel like singing.
Losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Showtime!
All right, folks, welcome to another end of a week. That's right, the old Friday Popscast is back. And news update here on the old Pops channel. Hope you're having a good new year. Things are great. Ladies in the house, that's right. Tay is back in the house. Let's catch up on some news and things going on. Tay, what is going on with you? How you been? Happy New Year.
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to you too. Starting off back to work and getting back to the swing of things with the kids back in school. So just a typical start, getting house projects done, making sure that we're starting off strong for the new year as far as everything goes. So, but excited for today to get back to the groove of things with the podcast too.
Yeah, awesome. Great to have you. Great to do this. And I don't talk about Marvel a lot in the last couple years. We didn't know there was going to be a new clip that was dropping. So tune in after this conversation. You'll get me to talk about that at that point. I've been a pretty big, loud critic that since 2020, there's maybe been arguably a couple of good films, maybe arguably great, but probably not great in comparison to the previous 10 years. So I'm not jumping on the every news moment, every Marvel thing, breaking news type thing. So I was going to bring Tay in. She can be my resounding voice of excitement, I hope. I don't know. We'll see. All Marvel did to me was nostalgia bait everybody. They dropped 3 little teasers that told everybody what we already knew. I guess Chris Evans returning as Steve Rogers was a bit of a thing. I don't think it surprised anybody. There was rumors he was going to return as a different character, which actually may still happen in the movie, in my opinion. And then we'll show. So, Tay, as far as Doomsday go, is it kind of a dust off the MCU for you? You got new excitement. You're excited to see these new characters back. What is your general take on things?
I'm excited. I know the concept of Doomsday. If anybody doesn't already know, my husband is the huge Marvel fanatic. So as I am for DC, he is for Marvel. Always has been as far as the comic verse. So when MCU started, he is a critic. He has the things that he likes. He has the things that he dislikes, just like everyone else. But I feel like it's more so of a nostalgia thing with a lot of these heroes getting the screen time. The thing that we are really enjoying about Doomsday, and the thing that a lot of people got when it came to Infinity War, was that Avengers feel. The true, we're bringing everyone together. They're fighting this bad guy. They're getting the win for Earth. Like that feel that we were all waiting for to happen, and it finally was brought together with Infinity War. Now we're kind of getting that same feel here, but we're bringing everybody back that has kind of not necessarily been replaced, but they've lived their life. They're all settling down. Everyone's got families. They have things that they wanted to do, married life, relationships, things that they are doing on the back end. And we are getting introduced to new characters so that the MCU can continue. And so bringing back those former characters is exciting. I will say that these teasers was intriguing for me because not only are they bringing back the MCU, but my love for X-Men.
The most popular comic book in the world today is coming to life.
And the fact that we're finally getting the combination of X-Men into the MCU is something that's been driving me nuts that we've had to wait this long. So I'm intrigued to see what happens of it. The little teasers is kind of fun for me because I feel one of the things that I don't like about big trailers is that they sometimes hype up the really awesome scenes and then it kind of ruins the excitement you have for the film. So I'm glad that they're taking these few seconds to get some clips in, showcase a few people that we already were aware are going to be in the film for the most part, and then just kind of push through. And then I probably won't watch the trailers just because I'm fearful of what they might release in it. But I'm excited to see what happens, and we're gonna see Doomsday just because it's one of those things that we've been looking forward to.
Well, she's definitely my kid about the trailer thing. I feel the same way. At this point, I also was surprised that it's actually it's a Christmas movie. It's going to be coming out then. I thought it was going to be sooner than that. So they have a lot more time. That means we're going to get through Comic-Con. So the big boom now may be, I don't know, a Super Bowl tease possibly, or an amalgam of these things for Super Bowl. That will be the next thing to keep your finger on, guys, to see if there'll be a Super Bowl tease. Probably a 30-seconder, if anything. That would be my bet, was they could tease these three characters coming back. Well, technically more than three, but the Fox X-Men, whatever they may be. And then a Robert Downey Jr. Doom, something relevant.
Yeah.
And then that will create a bunch of buzz and conversation, free advertising for literally days. And then obviously Comic-Con will be the big rollout with, the 37 jillion actors that are all going to make some sort of appearance. And Tay has clearly given them a lot more leeway than I have, because I know they wanted to replace. They wanted Black Captain and the female Thor and new, nasty, arrogant Ironheart. They wanted all that, and it doesn't work. No one wanted it. No one liked it. It didn't work in the comic books. That's why I said it wasn't going to work now. I wasn't like just a bigot who didn't want these things. I'm like, they weren't really that good. The source material is not good. So don't make the change to make something worse. Find the good pieces that do work. And they were good pieces. They easily could have done more Marvel without Steve Rogers. They had actually brought in, by the way, Wyatt Russell is a great U.S. agent, John Walker, but they refused to embrace any positives of his character. They basically just wanted to be an anti-hero, a villain, instead of trying to go through a transitionary thing to allow for Bucky to actually take up the mantle, which would have been what fans really wanted, not replace him. Same thing with Thor. We didn't want to see Thor emasculated in the female Thor movie. We just wanted to see her maybe take up arms again with him. That would have been fine. We could have had a second Thor, or they've made teases all along in this multi-universe thing that there could be other Thors out there, but they mishandled all that. Now, the Riri thing is by far the worst thing because there's not much to work there. I don't know what to work with. Now, Rhodey becoming War Machine, they've teased that since the beginning, and they've dropped that ball repeatedly. But the biggest thing right now that still is sort of like out in the wind, and I know you mentioned your husband Kevin and his love for Marvel. As you know, I've read all these things to Way to Sunday. There are 3 or 4 different things they could kind of gleam onto of how Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom and why Doom is now just appearing. I don't think we know yet which subplot story arc thing they're going to try to pull from. I don't think it's going to be anything direct, right? So they originally, for those of you who don't understand, they had Secret Wars. It was in the works. They had Kang as the big bad. Kang has not worked out. They've obviously dumped John Majors because of all the off camera issues, right or wrong or otherwise. Doesn't matter. That's what's happened.
Not a great plan.
So they've had to redirect. They had to figure out a way to create enough positive buzz for people not keep obsessing over the negatives. That's what my think is. So hence the reason we're going to bring the whole band back together for at least one big run. to make $1 billion, $1.5 billion. And I think that's probably feasible. I don't know that it's Infinity War numbers feasible. I don't know that you could
We'll see.
create a situation that you can make me want to go to the movies 3 to 5 times, which is kind of what you have to do to get to Infinity War type numbers. Now, again, I'm not a huge fan of Endgame in comparison to Infinity War. Infinity War works better. Endgame was sort of like, okay, and then had some issues, time travels among them. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm interested enough. It is got enough buzz around it. I think most normies are going to be excited, especially if they don't know what's been going on. Like, so for, again, don't you think most people are not obsessively keeping track of every MCU TV show on Disney Plus? And maybe they didn't see Thunderbolts because they didn't even know who Thunderbolts was. Maybe they saw Fantastic Four. Maybe they didn't. You know what I mean? So I feel like this, like the Super Bowl tease does seem like the biggest thing you can do to put a big shot in the arm of the normies.
Yeah, it'll basically refresh the hype for the OG characters that everyone really likes, the fact that they're all making a comeback, because like you said, we've lost a lot of people who, and it happens in all comic books. You have the primary characters that get swarmed around, the population loves. And so when you start to go back, and I love when they introduce the characters that they're kind of like on the back end, or that we don't get a lot of love for in the comic universe overall, but a lot of people aren't about that. So the fact that they're able to highlight and say, yes, we're bringing Captain America back, or at least Steve Rogers in some capacity. Yes, you're going to see Thor again. Like, being able to highlight that is going to make sure that you're sucking back in the original people, but the people that are familiar with those characters. People see Thunderbolts and they probably didn't even know that it was Marvel unless they were really paying attention. Like Agatha, I loved it, but a lot of people don't realize that that's Marvel. Like, if you don't pay attention, you're not really into the comic universe, you're not really sure of all this stuff that's on the back end, you're not picking up on all those details and all those side characters that everyone else is. So my biggest worry is that they aren't going to have any problems where they fall short, because they're trying to do this connection across the board where everything connects to everything. And I get that. I understand why they're doing it. But I feel like if you're doing that too much and you break that tie with those who haven't seen all of those things, that don't get all of those Easter eggs, then you're going to lose people if you can't bring it all together right. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, especially with us introducing the fact that they have the rights to X-Men now. Who hasn't seen X-Men? Who doesn't know these characters? Like, you're introducing things that maybe people aren't familiar with. So we'll see how they kind of bring in everybody in the interest overall for every level of comic book or superhero lover, or people that are not familiar with these stories. So we're gonna kind of, I'm intrigued to see what happens with it. We're a superhero family through and through regardless, so we're gonna enjoy it. And even if it's just to say, hey, this part was awesome, or this part was nice, and I'm glad they included this, which we've been able to do across the board. I feel like there's always going to be nitpicking, but to be able to say, yes, that was a good superhero movie, is usually what we end up with in some capacity.
Alrighty then. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I will close with just my prediction of what should happen. And I don't know what will. I will say that it's easy to come up with, and I'm still disappointed too. I think we briefly talked about it we talked about Fantastic Four, and that they didn't really connect Thunderbolts ending with Fantastic Four arriving with any explanation. Like, they should have just given us a tease of universes are colliding. There has to be a way to get a Superman rocket ship across the thing to save the universe or something, right? So they've got to figure that piece out. Exactly. So my Super Bowl tease kind of is an amalgam of these three teases, and just cut them up with the audio. You don't even need to do anything else, and then just add random shots of everyone's, it's the greatest hits, right? Yeah. Give everyone a really cool Fantastic Four moment where they're all four doing something together. Give a quick little shot of Guardians doing something cool together. Get a little tease here, a little tease there of all these different characters, even the young characters that some people don't know much about. So people will go, who is that person? Who is this person? That's what you kind of want. So you could say, all right, now go back and watch this TV show because it would help you. And major costume changes. Like, so if you have a major costuming change that you're going to do, let's say for Bucky, then this is the time to give somebody that, so people will just really have something. So that would be what I hope happens with the first tease. if they're going to not do that Super Bowl, we're going to wait until Comic-Con, then you've got to, again, at Comic-Con or by Comic-Con, you've got to drop a full 2-minute tease. You got to give everybody the meat on the bone. You got to get all the diehards too. I just think you can tease the normies now and then give the meat on the bone later for Comic-Con with a few gaps in between. And then we'll get a little bit more sort of what's going to go on and how, does Franklin Richards really factor into this or not? Is it really going to be more like an alternate version of Downey Jr. or not? Doom, subconscious, AI, just everything about that could be against the wall, we'll kind of know. As far as, dragging all the normie family members to go see it, I don't know. I have another son-in-law on the other side of the family. He'll definitely want to go. They've invited us for nearly every Marvel movie in the last couple of years. We go with them. So that kind of makes up for any shortfall of the movie experience over the last 5 years. So we'll see. I'm hoping for the best. Look, again, as critical as I am, I want this to turn around. I really hope the Russo brothers could get the right success to have the studio rally behind them of like, what team do you need now to put together really positive projects? Because I've made the case on this channel and beyond for how easy it would have been to fix almost every single failed project. I think every single piece easily could have been modified and tweaked and done, but this is the nature of where we're at. So now,
very, very true.
Okay, as I said, we didn't know an Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer would drop this week when we talked about some of the things that had teased this film, and it kind of started trending. It's like, oh man, they did drop another one. So let me talk about this one because it has a completely different vibe than the ones that we talked about earlier with Thor, Captain America, all X-Men coming back. This one focuses on these newer characters. Yeah, that's right. It opens with Shuri, the new Black Panther, she makes a king reference, even though she's a queen. Here in the desolate area with some commentary. Then it cuts to a montage. Basically, you have, that's right. We're going to get this version of Namor. I can't take this guy seriously. It was such a terrible interpretation of Namor. I don't even want to acknowledge it. But basically, it's a whole bunch of Wakanda Forever type stuff that we're going to get. She brings in everyone here. You have sort of these discussions and conversations about things with who? Yeah, King M'Baku. And who's he talking to? Yeah, he's talking to Fantastic Four. So it's not really a surprise. We know these actors and performers are in it. What is evident in this little clip is the MCU problem. It is characters that we don't care about. It's like second-rate T'Challa, not the real Black Panther. It's a second-rate Namor this guy is so far removed from what Namor is in the comic books and in all the legacy of the character. And then, of course, we get Marvel humor, Marvel gag about, hi, I'm M'Baku from I'm Ben from, this corner and that corner. Like, oh, come on, man. Just be serious, man. Be serious. Like, the dialogue actually could have just, again, we don't have context, but it feels like for the teaser, should have been like, hi, I'm Ben. I'm from another universe that I don't even know how to explain it to you, man. Thanks. Just nice to meet you. Something a little more seriousness about it, but no, that's not what they go for. So you get a little bit of that. And then it just cuts to just more, more stuff. And so the Wakanda and the Fantastic Four will be back for Avengers Doomsday. So this felt more like what I was saying earlier about Doomsday in that, we can have our nostalgia strings pulled and yanked around and we can kind of look for these moments of optimism and things. But at the end of the day, the MCU is the MCU. Marvel has not changed. They will lean into the Russo brothers, who are probably better than most of their stuff that we've gotten. But that doesn't mean it's going to be great. Doesn't even mean it's going to be good. It's going to be so convoluted with sort of another Infinity War / Endgame, millions of characters coming at you as some sort of contrived reason that's going to create all sorts of other contradictions, in my opinion. But that notwithstanding, I want to make sure I included this in our conversation for this week before something else happens, because Lord knows that could happen today. So there you go, folks. You're all caught up on that. What do you think about Avengers Doomsday? Does this give you another moment's pause or not? You let me know. A little more up my lady's alley here. She's like me. We are DC people first. So it's been a sad world to live in a DC world when it comes to cinema, because it's not been a great run.
What the hell
Could you move the door?
It's not healthy, is it?
I'm also not totally sure we're going to get a great run. The latest is you know, Warner Brothers and Netflix deal has been struck. I think Paramount has countered with a whole lot more bag of cash. I don't think Warner wants to go to Paramount. I think this is kind of the jockeying of the agenda. For those of you who don't know how this works, yes, this could, you know, why wouldn't they just sell for more money? Well, I don't think they want to. I think that Warner wants to go to Netflix to keep more Warner control in their world, if that makes sense. So if Warner goes to Paramount, Paramount becomes probably, if not the biggest studio, would be the biggest studio, and everything gets sucked up into the Paramount brand. And Paramount and Warner have been competitors this whole time. Nobody cares about Netflix, man. They've been licensing crap to Netflix. It's treated as a streaming service first. They've done productions. Sure, it's usually for just Oscar. They're still trying to get some scraps and they do, because they throw so much money at everybody. So James Gunn was finally asked, hey, what's going on, James? What do you think? And just the article, this is a slash film, which is basically a good synopsis of things, talks about how he's over on Variety. It's called Awards Chatter. It's a podcast. So they discuss the deal. And of course, it talks about Paramount trying to, you know, outdeal the bid and all that. He basically just, he has to take the high road and says he doesn't really follow. He doesn't really know, whatever. He has to say that. Tay, as
that makes sense.
You know me. These guys, I've said it my whole life, they live and die by the Variety magazine cover. They do not, they know what's going on. They have to know what's going on. This is their job. This is their livelihood. They know everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Oh, yeah. But they're not going to say anything. Yeah, they have to keep their mouth shut. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So that notwithstanding, you get into the quote, everything's unknown. I think it's really exciting, frankly. So I hope and pray for the best. I've been through these sort of changes so many times that, you know, be careful what you wish for, because you don't really know until you know. I hope it goes well. Every direction has really exciting things for DC. So I'm excited about where it's going. So long story short, I can say a lot of stuff. I'm excited. I love people say, like, I hope and pray for the best. Blah, blah, blah. We're excited. DC, I'm still under contract, so I'm not really too worried. I probably have a buyout clause. Then they go into how DC Studios could be in limbo. And then Superman, Supergirl, blah, blah, blah. That goes into some other stuff we'll talk about, like Face and Lanterns. With all that said, Tay, the Warner Bros. Netflix thing. If it were to go down, and again, nothing's going to change by the time Supergirl comes out. So Supergirl may be the big pivotal thing about what Netflix would do or not do, in my opinion. And I kind of liken this to what happened with Black Adam, because if you remember with Black Adam, the buzz went crazy because Henry Cavill shows up at the end of the movie. And the movie wasn't terrible. It was more like Justice Society meets Black Adam. And it was kind of a letdown, because if you knew Superman was right there, it's like, you know, use the dog whistle and call Superman. I mean, you know, it should have been a Shazam movie, not a Justice Society movie, but that's kind of how it went down. Anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think with the whole DC, Netflix, Warner Brothers stuff? Is there anything that you think we should kind of keep our eye on?
The only thing I could say that I can try to be hopeful for is that we get back to good quality DC TV. I need TV shows of our characters done properly, because you have all of the stuff that I really enjoyed, or at least the start of it, because it started to flop towards the end of it. But I really enjoyed a lot of the CW shows. I really enjoyed Flash. I really enjoyed Arrow, and we did love Swamp Thing. And then it just kind of, they flopped. They started to just push things, and you could tell that it was just rushed storytelling after a certain season. I want that to be done to the point where you have all of these characters that are introduced in their own TV shows, and then maybe you bring them into a cinematic movie. Or because if you're doing this copy and paste of all of these wonderful stories, and you're either ruining them because you're just doing a repeat and changing face over and over again, so we can't you have all of these young kids that really want to enjoy these movies, but they associate them with 4 different actors or 4 different actresses because you can't pick somebody and stick to it. But then they also have so many people that they just haven't done yet. Like, DC is huge. It's like Marvel. Like, why are you not focusing on characters that have such phenomenal stories? So I'm trying to be hopeful that, like, maybe if the contract is going the way that it is, that it'll go well. I don't know how it's going to correspond if Netflix ends up happening with the fact that they have, like, Lanterns as HBO. So how is that going to kind of, like, cross over or connect if it is? Because if Lanterns is HBO, are you never going to have Lanterns in your universe? Because you can't. Like, how are the rights going to work there? And then I'm always going to be worried for DC. They just haven't really blown my mind in a very long time. And it upsets me because I really have a lot of characters that I love and I want to see done right. And they just haven't impressed me. And I just kind of go to the movies just to go to the movies and say, yeah, it's a Superman thing or it's a Batman thing, but it's not anything exceptional for me. So I'm trying to stay as hopeful as I can. I will say, in the words of Gunn, even if he's showing face and he's just saying things just to say it, we really don't know until we see it, and then it is what it is. So I don't know.
A menage a trois of pain. Usually you pay double for that kind of action, Cotton.
Yeah, it is. So I think that for clarity, I think if the deal goes through, they would absorb. They would have rights to everything. They would get it, right? So they could do Lanterns. They could do whatever they could do. But by then, Lanterns would be done, right?
Yes.
With that said, I still go back to my original take. This was right around Black Adam's dropping. News was dropping that, oh, by the way, I know you guys like that Henry Cavill thing, and we teased that there could be more stuff going on there. But no, we're not doing any of that stuff. We're going to bring in James Gunn. He's going to take over everything and all this all new direction stuff. And I've said all along, first off, they don't have the cash, and I mean liquid cash, to keep this thing going for 10 years. Like, this is not a thing. Like, they don't, this is why they're up for sale. They don't have enough liquid cash to keep rinse and repeating with movies that are only making $600 million when they spend $200 million. So it's not how the math works when you add marketing and all the other stuff they have to pay for. With that said, with you were like TV, I'm with you on seasons like 1, 2, maybe 3 of most shows.
Yes.
Obviously, Flash season 1 I thought was phenomenal. Never liked the island part of Arrow, but I don't mind the first couple seasons.
It was interesting.
I don't mind Legends of Tomorrow. I thought they brought in a lot of good characters. Thought they did a lot of stuff. There are other things they did that I thought were terrible. In the latter seasons, I was out.
Don't even talk about them. Nope.
Correct.
Yeah.
The HBO Warner Max stuff has also been tainted by just gratuitous abuse. The comic books are just as bad. It's like, really, I gotta throw shade there too. What are you doing with Harley Quinn, for instance? Is she going to be the Joker's sidekick? Is she going to be like a sexy sort of like anti-hero, or is she going to be like a lesbian party girl with poison ivy on an animated? Like, I don't pick your poison. What are we doing? We can't do 3, 4 different things. We got to pick something out. Like, what are we doing? That is more, I think, definitive of where we're going. Not in, because like you saying, this encyclopedia dates back to the 30s and 40s. So you need to have sort of a definitive, this is what our character is and does. It needs to be similar in comic books. I don't need them to like completely rebrand and do everything, but I need it to be in enough alignment that you make money. I don't understand why that's so hard. Like, Marvel's way worse at this, by the way. Like, right before a Doctor Strange movie, we kill Doctor Strange and make it the girl Doctor Strange. No sense whatsoever.
You serious?
Right. You need to have something that's aligned. So people go see a Superman movie and they go to the comic book store. They're reading a comic book story that's about Brainiac and Lex Luthor and stuff that makes sense. So the people that are reading the comic books are like, hey, man, I should read more of these comic books. I like this movie, blah, blah, blah. There should be a Mr. Terrific tie-in miniseries. It should all be aligned like that based on whatever characters they choose. Gunn has always, to me, been the worst choice in all this because he's only good at, in my opinion, really weird characters. It's Guardians of the Galaxy type stuff, right? Suicide Squad was fine, but it's Guardians of the Galaxy with DC, right?
Okay.
What are the best elements of
Mhm.
Superman, right? It was Mr. Terrific and the Justice stuff. Even though the Justice stuff was irritating at
Yep.
times, it was also the better stuff. Superman stuff was like, take it or leave it. It was okay. It's not, anything special. He did Creature Commandos, which is, Guardians of the Galaxy with monsters and some vulgarity. He's going to do
Yep.
a weird version of Lanterns because it's not really Hal Jordan origins. It's not really John Stewart origins, I don't think. We're also going to we're going to mix in Clayface. Now, listen, Taylor will nod. I love me some Batman, and I love me some Batman villains.
Yeah.
And Clayface is one of the ones.
Yep.
And what have I said for years, folks? A rated R, which is now confirmed, a rated R horror Clayface.
Yep. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it.
But Tay, do you want to guess what my biggest problem is going to be with this movie? Take a stab. There's no Batman. It's a hero story.
Oh yeah, they're not showing him. Yeah, they're just doing the villain backstory focused film.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I will say I find it interesting. I mean, it's interesting to me. It could be their version of we're gonna do more focus on these villains that don't get attention and then bring them into the Bat universe. I don't know. Maybe he'll somehow showcase in one of the films. I actually will say I'm actually more excited with this is what's sad. More excited for Clayface than I was for Superman because I feel like it's giving new focus. The fact that it's horror style, I'm hoping that it's just creepy beyond belief. I want the creep factor when it comes to Clayface. I want to be terrified. I want to be like, what in the world am I watching? So I'm excited for it. I don't know if I told you, I never saw the Pattinson Batman. I didn't really want to. Maybe I should give it a shot. I just don't know.
Right.
I'm like, it's hard. It's hard for
Right.
me to see these same characters just on repeat. I can't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah, we can put a pause in the Clayface. So let's talk about the Batman for a second because there is the Batman 2 coming. So
yes,
here's my take on what's right and wrong. The first thing that's wrong with the Batman is that they want to change it all, right? So Gunn doesn't want to do Batman. He wants, actually, if you read between the lines of everything he's saying, Batman is his least, he has the least interested at all of letting Batman. And if he wants to do any Batman, it's only like surrogate Batman with Damian Wayne, which in my opinion, no one freaking cares. Like it's always like the third version. It's like the third rate. There are good stories. I don't want to hear from all the haters. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. However, the Batman, which Matt Reeves, I thought did an admirable job of creating a very interesting Gotham City and an interesting take on Batman. He's a young Batman. And Pattinson pulls off like the eerie emo Bruce Wayne. Like it's a dude that's really traumatized. Now, it doesn't work in some ways, and I'll get to why. But what does work is it feels like Batman Year 2. He's got some stuff. He spent some money. He can fight. He's been trained. They should have shown a little bit more in flashbacks of training and figuring all that out. And it showcases everything is about your like setup stuff, right? So it's like Penguin before he's Penguin. It's the crime stuff. It's on the streets. He's not really good at fighting, really super good. He uses the cape to glide, but then he crashes into something. Like he
that's
needs
realistic.
to actually, so he needs to talk more about how he's learning. And Alfred should have had more conversation about you're going to get yourself killed, Master Bruce. All right.
Yes.
That's what they did. That's the parts that did okay. The prototype Batmobile, all that stuff. So what he did wrong was he really didn't solve any crimes in time to save anybody. Everybody's dying. So he never really does a good job. The prototype Riddler, because he's a terrible Riddler. But whatever this version is like a early version of that Riddler. They shouldn't have changed the names, but him struggling with the fact that he's still losing people should have been more apparent on screen. And then all the changings to the backstory with the family name, and they basically just said Hush without saying the name Hush. I really don't understand the third act of the movie. The third act of the movie is terrible. Third act of the movie feels like a Superman rescue sequence and a fight scene that doesn't make any sense. And they threw a whole bunch of stuff together. Now, back to Clayface. This does work in the sense of it feeling like it could be done with young actors and a villain that's out there. I don't want it to be reduced, though, to like the Penguin show, which the Penguin show is better than the Batman. The Penguin show is phenomenal. So if you watch Batman,
I've heard it's phenomenal. Yes.
If you watch the Batman, which I give a very mediocre review to, I would basically call it like a 2.5 to 3 out of 5. It's like a Midland thing. It's just another. It's okay.
Yeah.
It will get bonus points if they do what I'm saying. Of like, okay, the next movie it's been 2 years. He's learning. The Batmobile's cooler. He's more skilled. All this reality of I can't make this. I forget what the events of the first movie would be called, but I can't make the same kind of mistakes I did during that time, Alfred. Those people died because
learn from my mistakes. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So now he's not carrying just the burden of his family. He's carrying the burden also of the lives that he's lost because he's pretty crappy at being a Batman yet. He hasn't really figured it out. If Batman could make some sort of relevant presence, I'm going to be more excited. And that's my problem with this movie.
That's fair.
I'm excited. Yeah, rated R. They're literally at director cut level right now. It's quote totally original, which I'm not quite sure I knew what to mean there. Quote, no one's expecting it. They see a director's cut in January, but they're on the set a lot. James Watkins, I think, is one of the best horror filmmakers out there. He's done Speak No Evil. The way that he ratcheted up some of the tension, it was great. But nobody, I mean, a true rated R body horror movie from a comic book company. Yeah, that's what it should be. Really good.
It's Clayface. Yeah, it's gross and terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gunn is kind of dancing around with it. He says, although it's in the same universe, it's a complete horror movie. So that's not a company style. It's not every movie's going to be like Superman. The artists, the directors, and the writers create. Each one will bring their own sense to it.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel as though there are things that they can do right with it and things that they can make things worse with it. I'm very torn, as you said earlier, with your take on things. When you love something like this, you can point to so many, can you imagine? And I'm sure by now you've read it, right? Clayface Mudpack is possibly one of the most underrated Batman stories.
Yeah, so good.
And it gives them what they're so thirsty for, Tay, a female Clayface. It spoon feeds one right freaking to them. They want female characters left and right, and I know. I don't think that's what we're going to get, though. We'll see.
No. That doesn't. I feel like going off of, or at least hinting off of what Gunn is saying, it makes him sound like he's giving everyone their individual rights and creative input on these characters, and he's like treating them as standalone. It makes it sound like Clayface is going to have his own movie, but he's never going to be in a Batman film. Like, why would you do that? Like, what's the point of introducing a villain from that series that after you've already introduced the hero, who is what we're trying to see as growing into the hero we know him as, and then never introducing the villain into the story? So that's where when they say things like that, it worries me. I'm excited for Clayface. If I have to treat it as a standalone, it'll be unfortunate, but I'm at the same time, I'm not getting hopeful about anything. I'm not excited that they're going to bring it all together. That, like you said, it doesn't seem like Gunn really has a whole lot of interest in bats. He wants to do more focused on Damian Wayne, which I really don't like Damian Wayne that much. So we'll kind of see what happens. I'm taking it one movie at a time and not trying to give a whole lot of hopes or excitement for whatever I walk into.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I feel even more apprehensive whenever it talks about stuff with the lanterns, because I feel I've never felt anything. So the lanterns, if you don't know much about that, it's, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and it's described as sort of like cosmic superhero True Detective. Now, I loved season 1 of True Detective. I don't hate on some of the other seasons, even though the 4th one I think is garbage. I don't know if that's the best way to get Green Lantern into stuff. So I don't know. I'm with you on these projects, these little side projects. I don't think Gunn, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure Gunn nor anyone else over there has the talent and the skill to sort of like whiteboard and control everything. And Kevin Feige has allowed it to get away from him over at Marvel, so we can blame his ego or whatever we need to. And it's radically hard to do. Otherwise, people would have repeated it, right? It failed miserably at Universal with their monsters, right? They couldn't quite get the Tom Cruise Mummy movie to be. It's like 2, maybe 3 movies thrown together. Like it's got a great opening in some ways, and it's got pieces of things, but then they can't, right? The Godzilla MonsterVerse stuff. It's like, okay, well, some of them are good and some of them are okay, but
Yeah,
not.
but it's
It's
slammed
not.
together. Yep.
So I don't know.
Yep.
Oh well, let me pull up another story that I was a little surprised by, and I don't think anybody's talked about because it's not totally confirmed. It's just kind of a weird story for me. There's news. I don't know if anybody has seen or heard this. I'm not sure anybody cares, Tay. People don't talk about kids' movies. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
I know.
Brought this up the other day.
Yeah. Unless you have kids, it doesn't really happen very often. And even then, sometimes you don't even know it's happening until you might see a trailer somewhere. And you're like, oh, they're doing that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the news that's coming from like one of these guys that I've always been talked to. So in the voice actor not related to anime category, Jim Cummings is probably one of the best, one of the biggest names sort of out there, right?
Oh, most definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super cool guy, by the way. If you meet him in shows,
Yes,
I mean, everything from Darkwing Duck to Ray the Firefly, dude's done. I mean, Tigger, Winnie Pooh, all of it. He can just do anything on the fly. I've interviewed him, said at shows. Super cool dude, right?
To IMDb, you have around 537 credits.
Okay, I'll
I don't
take
think
it.
anyone has that number of credits.
Gosh, I don't know what to say about that. God bless the people who sit there and count.
He's out on the road. He's out there doing things, whatever, and he just makes a random comment about how Disney is working on another Pooh project, another Pooh Bear show, like another thing. I don't even know that we totally got pushed back. I think that the live action Christopher Robin was fine. I think there's a new preschool show called Playdate with Winnie the Pooh. I think it's what's called Playdate. And
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, there's going to be another feature length movie coming. Now, I'm assuming it's animated. I don't know about you. Wouldn't it be nice to have a nice 2D hand-drawn animated
They need to go back
movie?
to the classic animation. Yes, if they're gonna do another Pooh movie, it needs to be the classic animation. Bring us back to the 100-Acre Woods like we know it, and can do whatever you're gonna do with these characters to allow us to enjoy them once again. Because I feel like if you're going to intrigue everyone and not just the young crowd that enjoys the three-dimensional animation that you're throwing around everywhere, you have to go back to the original stuff that we started with. But we'll kind of see where they go with this. I'm glad Jim's excited. That at least makes me somewhat hopeful. Like, okay,
that's true.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Did your kids didn't really glom on to Winnie the Pooh much as far as we saw? We didn't really see a lot of Winnie the Pooh love out of them. What do you think about this generation? I don't think kids are into it yet. I feel like it skipped a group.
Not the original. Yeah, not the original stuff. I feel like the last time I heard of like somewhat of excitement for anything that was around similar to that was the Heffalump movie. Was a huge kick for a lot of kids for a while there because they were giving so much focus on the Heffalumps and their newer shows. And so when they saw that there was a Heffalump movie, it kind of backtracked a little bit for people. But as far as the original, there wasn't a whole lot of like, I don't feel like they gets enough attention to it. I've seen more people focusing on the live action stuff than I have anything for Winnie the Pooh. And then of course that crazy horror movie thing that came out because of copyrights. It's just good.
Well, I mean, Pooh itself has elements that are still in public domain now. So, but they own Tigger, they own the Pooh Bear likeness and design and all that. So it's not like they can't still do Pooh Bear stuff. I think the thing what they need to do is just lean into and Taylor, no surprise for everybody out there. I'm a pretty consistent man. I pretty much say similar things. I don't come on here. I don't have to fake anything. Right? I mean, you can verify for everybody. This is kind of how I am.
There's not really a need for it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I thought they were in the business of making money. So make something that will sell crap so you make money. So make Pooh Bear look like the little red vested Pooh Bear stuffed animal. Make
Yep.
Eeyore, make Piglet, make all the stuff that people will buy for their
Exactly.
nurseries and their babies and their kids and your age group will be like, oh my gosh, when I was a kid, I had this stuff in my room. And when
Yeah, it's cute. Yeah.
the Gen Xers like us will buy them for our grandkids and great grandkids. And oh my goodness
Exactly.
gracious me. It is so not rocket science. And I'm with you. A lot of faith in Jim. Jim's one of the few people I would love to spend more. I need to reach out to Jim. I'm writing Jim's name down. Maybe I can get Jim back on. We could do a little show with Jim. Maybe
Jim's
Jim
awesome. I wouldn't be
tries-
surprised if he would. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he is really good. Man, it'd be cool to get him to do a little Pops intros, all the different voices, wouldn't it? That'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
You know, everybody's got a soft spot in their hearts for the 100-Acre Wood.
So in that same vein, childhood type stuff, I don't think it was massive for you guys. Obviously, the Christmas stuff was, Halloween stuff was. We had a lot of family love for Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and Peanut stuff, but it wasn't like a massive boom during your childhood.
Yeah.
We just affectionately had it within our house. But Sony's made a move to sort of like put it out there. Like they're going all in on this. So they're going to spend a ton of cash, which is interesting because they don't really do a lot of big money deals lately. But this is tied to their Japanese side as well. So maybe this involves a lot of overseas sales and things like that. They're buying basically a company. They're buying the Canadian media company WildBrain, which owns 41% of Peanuts. So in American dollars, this was a $460 million deal. Now they will own close to 80% of Peanuts. So they're going to have, I mean, obviously a lot of controlling rights, but 80% means now you're talking kind of like a Marvel deal. When they say, hey, Spider-Man's going to be in the Sony movie, what does Marvel get out of it? They get all the merch, they get whatever. This is another one of those Sony type things for them where they're basically buying enough leverage that they can do whatever they want to do, if that makes sense. They don't have to worry about a lot of red tape. They can just start making stuff. I'm very interested because
which is interesting.
They went on to say, Sony describes the Peanuts as a world-class IP. President and group CEO said, since 2018, the SMEJ has been proud of the part of the partnership behind Peanuts. It's an iconic global entertainment brand with 75-year legacy of delighting audiences worldwide. With this additional ownership stake, we are thrilled to be able to further elevate the value of the Peanuts brand by drawing on the Sony Group's extensive global network and collective enterprise, which means we are going to cash in. We're going to do it great.
Yeah.
Change your plans, Snoopy.
And basically, it's just we are deeply committed to carrying forward the legacy of Charles Schultz and the Schultz family, which is what you would say. You know, talked about how it started in the 1950s and Charlie Brown, Snoopy, everything like that. Just the YouTube channel, which it's weird. I didn't know there was a Snoopy YouTube channel. It only has 750,000 subscribers. By the way, if you guys market it, there is a Snoopy channel that would be like 4 million, like within a couple weeks. Just be honest. So.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think about the idea of the old, Peanuts gang getting more content, putting stuff together, getting more merch out there? I liken this a little bit to what we saw at Christmas. We briefly talked about how it was the season of the Grinch this year. There was Grinch stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
I could see this becoming the peanut, because we've had some peanut Christmas years where stuff has been kind of focused on a little bit. So that might be the first thing we'd see is an easy market push for the holidays. What do you think?
We'll see what happens with it. It's definitely gotten more popular with the Apple TV movies that they've been making. And there's a Peanuts Snoopy-esque movie coming out this month. So, I mean, it's definitely getting more popularity, and the fact that they're trying to get more things out there to introduce the characters. I feel like if they're gonna do it, I'm more worried of them overdoing it than anything else, and taking away from the classic that we know and love. I don't want them to try to remake any of the things that we already have. I don't need them to try to remake Charlie Brown's Christmas. Leave it alone. I don't need you to mess with the Halloween. I leave all of the stuff that we already love, and just kind of get the characters out there and make them more popular, maybe on their own type of like a show, more like one-off stories with each of these characters, like we know from the classic show when they would just kind of show them at school or doing different things, and Lucy at her little stand, like kind of just showcasing the characters and what we already enjoy, and then kind of introducing it more to these new generations that they can enjoy the characters too. I know that the film that was not that long ago, wasn't it was it 2015 or was it after that? Am I thinking of? I don't remember when the movie was, but I know that there was
2015.
The Peanuts movie just happened. 2015. Yeah, they're supposed to be doing a Peanuts 2 for that, which I mean that in itself is going to revamp it and kind of showcase it a little bit more for them, and then they're hinting at a lot more stuff to come. So I don't know if Sony will assist alongside those projects to kind of get them more attention so that their characters are amped up through merchandise or something that they can do with the theme parks, or like I don't know, the conventions. There's a lot of stuff that they can do if they do it right. So we'll kind of see what happens, but they're definitely well-known and enjoyable characters that have been around so long. So I just hope that they do it right.
I would go back to the developmental tactics of Charlie Brown Christmas, right? Go pull a whole bunch of the comic strips, original material, pull together 2 or 3 story threads and thread them together. And you brought up to teaching the school stuff, which hasn't really been done. So do a spring break story. Do something that leads right into the kids just counting the days to get out of school. Got all those little teachers, all those comic strips that deal with school and whatever, and you can cut away to lemonade stand and pulling away the football and all the different things that you need.
Exactly.
Just very fluidly make a little spring break thing, and then you drop it right around March or whatever, so the kids can find a nice little window of 3-4 weeks where there's no kids movies coming out, and there you go. You gotta go make a little bit of money for yourself. So
show me the money.
Show me the money. That's it, brother. But you got to go.
Sony is really good at licensing and making money with little effort, owning an IP, and then just send it out there. That's why a lot of their stuff ends up on Netflix. They're real good at, hey, listen, we're not going to have our own streaming service. We're going to license our stuff out. Smartest decision they've ever made. So
it is.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's one that I thought we could just talk about because no one's really been talking about it. Most of the news, and we'll close with this, and I know you're not totally caught up, but almost everything, which is good because it didn't trend in part 2. So Stranger Things came to a close. And I will admit, I was kind of disappointed. I thought the first 4 episodes were pretty slow. Not a lot's going on. And then it kind of went through the next couple episodes, and it was this big, clunky, terrible episode. And really, like, by the way, we're supposed to be on this urgent thing, a whole stopping Vecna and all the clothes of the world. And we have this big coming out scene, which stops the whole show. And it's like, wait, this is like 2025, not 1987, which is what it should have been. And the show kind of ended, and there was like an hour close of epilogue, by the way, and people were like really disappointed, really upset. And then just one of the weirdest conspiracy theories I've ever seen, Tay, and that was that there's a mystery 9th episode that's going to drop at any moment, and they called it Conformity Gate, and it was all of these fan theories. But the videos that people put together with all these clues show they are rabid fans. They love their stuff. They were like pointing out on the clock. It says 1/7, so it means it's going to happen on January 7th. And it was so many things, and it was done so well. And I likened it to, and this is why I wanted to go with liking it to. So there was a thing that happened after the Star Wars debacle, if you remember, Rise of Jedi, The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Called Fandom Menace, right? So Fandom Menace rose up and was like, okay, I'm out. We're all upset. And I was more forgiving. I used to fight with your brother over, they've got a plan. There's too much money. It's $1 billion franchise. I was always like, surely they have a plan. They did not have a plan.
Trying to stay positive. No, they don't.
No, I just thought they had a plan. To me, again, I always like follow the money. There's too much money at risk here. You don't risk something like this without a plan. That's way too much. And they did not have a plan. They let Rian Johnson do all sorts of crazy things. Hence the reason you had the backlash and YouTube channels and all the stuff that happened. Fandom Menace. Stranger Things has really kind of pushed itself and becoming the new Fandom Menace. And I think if people will have to come to grips with something not living up to your expectations, right? Nothing will be as bad as Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones is probably one of the dumbest things in all of entertainment history. I think George R.R. Martin has no desire to ever write anything about any of that because he knows it's like a hornet's nest. There's no way he could do anything right, so he might as well just stay out of it. I think this is not that bad. And the finale wasn't that bad, but it was probably the best episode of the season. That's how bad the season was. And it just seems like it's this generation's, because Stranger Things has been 10 years, right? It's been 10 years. It's been
a long time. Yep.
Yeah, it's been a large part of your life. And the kids that are really into this, so let's say
for sure.
I don't know 15 to 20. Right? They've kind of like this team, they're really, so this had to be one of the first big devastating, they let me down type things, right? That I could think of. So I don't know. Could you think of other situations where you were really let down by how something comes to an end or a close? Obviously, there's a lot of movies that do this, and then they usually try. The new thing is now we'll just do fourth and fifth movies. They used to not really be a thing. They wouldn't do more than 3. It was kind of weird to have a fourth movie.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, like The Matrix was a good example. I thought there's one Matrix movie.
That's true. I mean, not that I can really think of. I'm trying to go through and think if there was anything that I got really disappointed by or that just wasn't done the way that I had hoped.
All right, say that. Start over for me. I think we buffered for a second there.
So I think if I can think of anything that we were disappointed by but we're trying to stay positive that it might be done right the next time kind of thing is Aragon. Because that was one of the biggest book series of our childhood, and they did one movie and it was a huge flop, even though they were originally going to do the whole series, and then because of how bad the movie was, they just dropped it, and then now it was picked up for a TV show. So I don't know if it'll be good, but that was one of the hardest things because that was one of my generation's really big fantasy series, and it was not done at all how we had wanted, and we were really upset about it, but we were so excited we went to see it. So you have that hype and you have that excitement for it to turn out the way you want it because you have so much love for the story and these characters, and then when it's not done, it hits you and it's a disappointment. I know that there's probably other things out there for my generation that were really big for people that they were upset about. Like my generation will always joke about the Twilight series because that was a huge book when we were teenagers. The movies were just, we can joke about it, watch it and just be like, this is ridiculous. I don't know if it's really the same for shows. I can't really think of shows that were ever like that. That I like off the top
finales.
Of my head,
Most shows, their finale just can't live up. That's just kind of a thing. It's no way to wrap it up. How do you wrap it up? Because when you wrap it up, your brain is still going, but they have a life to lead. You watch the end of Friends, but you're like,
that's true.
Well, they're going to go off and have kids and whatever.
They got to go off and do their thing.
Can we
Friends
see
make
any
sense.
of that? No,
yeah,
we're not going to show you any of that. You don't get to know.
No.
So there's little things like that.
That's true. Yeah, you have small things like that. You have
I just think Helly.
Ending of big shows. There's big shows that were live actions. I guess Lost is a good example, but that's not necessarily kid shows. It was just, that was a show I got into, and then it went on for so long and you really thought it was going to end the way you wanted and it would be hopeful, and then it was just kind of what it was. So I can get that. I think it's harder for that, like you said, for that generation that this show was created for. It's for them to connect with these kids but still bring in the older generation from that time of do you remember when you were like this? Do you remember when you used to play Dungeons and Dragons, or when you would hang out in the basement with your friends and then you would ride your bikes to go to the store? And so it was connecting with so many different generations at one time. And so if it flops in any capacity, or if it was not successful, everyone wants to hold on to that hope that there's going to be something that's going to give us that turnaround. No, there's more. There has to be more. They're going to save it. And then it's will they? Because I don't know.
Oh, they did not give you. Yeah, they didn't get.
Yeah. Oh, I think you froze again.
I'm sorry, we buffered badly again. I don't know what happened. Where we
You're
lost
fine.
it,
You're
so.
good.
I'll just close and say, they just didn't give us the ending that we wanted. I don't want to get into deeper spoilers for you, but you know, it was funny going on X and seeing people trending with different things. And there are little things that were done that would have been so easy to just kind of give people some closure and feel better about it. Plus, it was very long-winded. It's like an hour. It's like, oh, this is crazy, way too long. So,
Yeah.
anyway, we know we caught up a little bit on some stuff. I know there's a lot of news that happened between these, so it's tricky to figure out how to time them out. And we end up just we almost feel like we just rather have something nice and positive in our life. We can talk about some movie that we enjoyed watching or something like that. So we tend not to the minutia of trendy news and different things. So that's kind of why we do these. But it's fun to do that, folks. And we'll do it. We'll hear out for you guys. So, but Tay, things are going good, and I appreciate having you back and chatting with me for a bit.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Folks, listen, make sure you check out what's going on here on the channel and join us on a Tuesday live show. And thanks for watching. I'm Pops.
Thank you for tuning